Did you know how well you build relationships directly impacts your success levels as a business owner and an employee? Corporations are really genius at this. They know how to build the relationships, they know how to collaborate well, they know how to select the right people to build it, like bring in on the project and build up past their goals. So I want to teach you how to do the same thing. There are three things that your professional collaborations need to do. They need to fast track your goals, they need to increase your visibility, and shape you as a leader. If you are watching this right now, you're a leader. To continue to be a leader, you have to know what collaboration means. And the first thing it is an action item because it's a verb. You have to work jointly with other people towards an intellectual endeavor. That translates to you have to think about what you are doing and then bring in the right people. That's intellectual. Work smarter, not harder. Another thing that I want to add is in business, whether you are an employee or an entrepreneur, your collaborations could last up to 30 years. And even if they don't, I want you to think about building relationships for 30 years. So the little small things that might catch you up right now because it's in the present, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, then it won't matter in 30. So start thinking about your relationships like that long term so you don't get caught up or cut the wrong people out of your life too early. A little bit about me is I'm Christina L. Glancy. The L is important, but that's a conversation for another day. I am a leading voice for first gen professionals. One, because I am a first gen professional. I am a welfare kid turned techie. I used to write my mom's HUD packages, so I learned how to read legalese at a really young age. And now, as a corporate person with my own business, I use that same skill set to help people build quality organizations, relationships, and enterprises without burning out or selling out. And that's very important. I'm from Pittsburgh, as you can see, 412. And it's really important to not sell out. Uh, you burning out and selling out are the two things that will impact you the most in your business because and in your employee journey because you are an asset. So I want to help you think about yourself as an asset inside of the relationships that you are going to build and make them last beyond the project so you don't have to keep sacrificing yourself. By the end of this, which is going to be like another 10 minutes, so stick with me, I want you to think about how you involve yourself in relationships. Are you trying to be right in the relationship or are you trying to be in the relationship? Because there's a difference. If you're trying to be right, you're getting caught up on the small things. And if you are trying to be in a relationship, you are looking at it like the 30-year thing that I mentioned earlier. And you are willing to look past small grievances, not all the time, but small grievances for the sake of the relationship. And then I want you to think about what you are doing to impact your success rate in your relationships. Are you for it or against it? And if whether you are for it or how can you keep doing that thing in your other relationships? And then if you are the op in it, how can you change what you're doing to be more successful in your relationships because it impacts your business? So let's talk about some of the relationships that you can be in. According to Harvard Business Review, these are the 5 type of relationships a person needs to succeed in business. Now, this applies to employee and entrepreneurship because it's all business. You need a sponsor, somebody who's going to say your name in rooms that you're not in, that's going to pay your way in some way, whether it's financial or social capital. You want a mentor so you can have a trusted advisor to teach you where to go. My mentors helped me identify like what my next 5 years look like. But my sponsors pay for tickets and rooms. And sometimes it could be the same person or it won't. That's why they're separated. And then I have partners that I have like thought discussions with. We do brainstorms. For example, I have a business bestie. Every Sunday, we talk for about an hour and what we're doing for the week that's going to advance our business and how we can get to what we want to do faster by using each other's creativity. And we trust each other. We have an MOU in place, which is a memorandum of understanding. So we talk whatever we talk about stays in the room with us, and what we talk about is outlined on a contract. I have competitors. There are people that I want to look like or be like, but I am not implementing them directly. I am using them as a motivation source to keep going. I do see what they're doing as far as what they're doing good and what they're doing bad, and I use that information to review my data to see if I need to implement new things or if I just need to stay in my lane. So I don't look at people like my competition like envy. I use them as fuel to keep going and to stay relevant in my field. And you should do the same. And then I have mentees. So there are people that I pour back into because it's full circle, right? There's somebody that opened a door for me. So what I'm going to do is pay it forward and open doors for other people and make sure that they come along with me because we go further together. Not sure if I said that before, but everybody uses that. So I want you to think about what that looks like in your professional relationships. You don't have to do it right now, but save this slide so you can think about it. As you are looking at your relationships, I really want you to think about the importance of relationship building. Sometimes it could be a lot. If you're in a place like DC, I'm in DC, relationship building is embedded in the culture. Happy hours galore happen, brunches happen Sunday to Sunday. So relationship building is everywhere here. But I am intentional so I don't get burned out with it. And I want you to figure out of these things that I'm saying, what is relevant for you to build your relationship. The first thing that I want to mention, the obvious, it requires trust and transparency. I'm not asking you to pour your heart out to people. In fact, do not pour your heart out to everybody. Everybody does not have your best interests, but figure out the level of trust and transparency you can have with people, and you understand that when you get to know them. Apply discernment. Um, because strong relationships support your innovation and growth. I am predominantly in the tech field, so innovation and growth is the main thing there. Everybody wants to go somewhere fast. Strong relationships support that endeavor. And then when you are in relationships, you can have fast contacts and they can help you get like more relevance in your area, but you have to build trust with them. You have to move them from a basic contact, to a trusted advisor. That takes time. Just figure out where you are in the process. And then one of the things that I love about relationship building and the importance of it in my business is that it helps me market test. I get to talk to people on my email list, on my Instagram, in my community about what is working and what is not. And if it's not working, I don't have to build out a whole business department on it. I get to scrap it and go to do another thing. And that's what I want you to think about doing it. It's called the lean model of doing business because business is changing because of tech. So you have to stay relevant faster and be willing to adapt. Um, Sorry, I went a little ahead. And to give you a little bit more context and a container on how to look at your relationships is to think of them in these 5 categories. Some people might fit into multiple, but this is the startup community way. These gentlemen, they partnered up and started Techstars out in Colorado, basically turned a whole environment into a safety net for entrepreneurs to build and scale their careers and be successful in Silicon Valley and beyond. The 5 points here are intellectual capital, financial, institutional, physical, and human. What it boils down to is, do you have partnerships that will help you advance? How do you have conversations with your investors? If you are an employee, your investors are your employers. They pay your salary to get you where you need to go. If you are trying to buy a house, lenders, those type of things, like whoever is investing in your ability to live the lifestyle that you want, they are your investor. Mentors and advisors, your trusted advisors, government entities. If you are getting funded or you have funding projects from like getting a house or your like SBIR for your business, government entity, and the list goes on. Most in kind and stuff are media outlets, social media. You might have some affiliating links with Amazon that goes into media and social media. Whoever your relationships are, what are they doing to help you be a startup, and what are they doing to advance you to get to the next level? And if you don't know who these people are, start with these 5 pillars and start figuring out where they fit, so you have a more targeted plan to get to the relationships that you need to build to go. I threw this in there as a disclaimer because we talked about a lot of fast things. Basically, to build your relationships over 30 years, treat them like a garden. They're not a snack. They need to be watered, they need to be nurtured, and they require different things at different phases. It's not always easy and it's not always fast, but it is necessary to keep your relationships going and be able to be strong enough to support where you are headed. Everybody needs a foundation. So let's get into how to turn people into from basic into trusted advisor. A disclaimer here that I should have put on the slide is everybody is not going to be your trusted advisor, and it might not work immediately because there are some relationships that I've met people in 2016. It's now 2024, and they are finally able to be a number 4. I can call them now. So it just takes time because that's what, almost 10 years. I had patience enough because I realized when I met them 6 years ago, I just didn't have 8 years ago. Sorry, my math is off. 8 years ago that I just didn't have anything that I needed to bring them in on. But we now grew into both being in tech or, some of the things. So for this to work for you, pick 3 current relationships that you need over the next 2 years and start moving them down this funnel. Whether they are basic or warm, try to get them to trusted advisors. And if somebody falls off the list, pick somebody else. Don't get stuck there. However they fell off, use that as a lesson to keep going and to get you where you need to go. As you build relationships, shoot for 5 stars. Always. Whatever that means, give them a 5-star experience with you. So you are always giving them a reason why they remember you. When you choose the 3 people, I stick to people who are in leadership positions, operations, and marketing, because those are very high touch collaborative areas, and they can show me how to collaborate at a higher level than I already know how to. You should pick out what that looks like for you in your network and the people that you're picking. Ways that I collaborate with people. For example, I am turning a business relationship from a warm relationship to a trusted advisor because I've identified that I needed him in my business. I reached out to him like, hey, I see that you are not posting as much on social media. These are a few things that are happening in the industry. I think that you should start posting on like this. If you use ChatGPT, you could build resources XY that look like this. You have to figure out what that looks like for your brand, but I think that would advance you to where you need to go and give you the exposure you need. Easy peasy. He reached out to lunch. We're good. I'm back on his radar, and I'm moving him down my relationship building funnel. It might look different for you, but this is how I plan to do it. When I meet him, I'm going to ask him for help, talk about some of the challenges that I'm experiencing. I'm not going to tell him verbatim what we're doing, because we are in the same industry and he could take my idea. But I don't want to instill fear just saying it for reality. And then I'm going to ask him some of the things that he thinks that I'm good at and areas that I need to prove on, because my goal is to be better and to have him help me. When I told you about a few slides ago, you have to have trust and transparency. I trust his leadership enough for him to tell me what my strengths are and what I need to improve on. I'm gonna take that information and figure out how I can apply it, or I'll scrap it and try somebody else. But in order for me to have a successful collaboration with this person, I have to check myself, right? I need to know what my relationship is with my strength and my weaknesses as a founder, and you should do the same. I evaluate myself about every 6 months because I grow kind of fast at this point, and all the projects that I work on and stuff are different. So I'm not doing the same thing every day. You need to figure out what evaluating looks like for you. Some of the ways that I make sure that I'm staying self aware to be present in my relationship with myself and other people is I do mindfulness practices. I turn my phone off, I sit still, I pray. My mindful practices is with Jesus. Um, I journal. I just I journal sometimes for specific prompts, or sometimes I just write everything that I'm thinking down just so I can get it out so it doesn't keep ruminating in my head. And then other things are I'll call my best friend and say, "Hey, I am like ruminating right now. Really can't get this song out of my head. Really can't get this thing out of my head. What do you suggest I do? I realize that you're good at it." She keeps me aware. Love her for that. Shout out to Good at Fitness. She's amazing. And then, these three things are the thing that has helped me the most along with therapy. But even if you haven't been to therapy, they can still work for you. I know what my personality is like. So I am a protagonist, I'm a big thinker, and I'm also a doer. I care about humanity. So most of my projects, or whether I do business or volunteer, is social oriented. And I know that because I took the 16 personalities test. I'm not affiliated with 16 personalities. I just want you to win. If you click the link, I'm not getting paid for it. It's just pure want you to figure out who you are and how you can use it to build your like the information they give you to build relationships. They do something really cool where they'll break down your strengths and weaknesses in relationships as far as like professional, romantic, some of the things that you need to start doing, some of the things you need to stop. It's just a good blueprint of to get you started on how you could be better in your relationships. The attachment style quiz, get ready. Get ready. So it monitors how you belong in spaces, how you attach to people, places, and things. It will break down your attachment style to your parents, mom and dad separately, and then to your partner. That is important because your primary relationships with your parents are usual indicators of how successful you are in relationships. It's not always the case, but it is a general blueprint. And then I throw the how we love quiz in there because when you are working so hard for something, you're super passionate about it. And commitment in marriage is very much like the commitment you have to do in business because of the long terms, how supportive you have to be, all of those things. And then marriage is a contract. So learning how you attach to things and people with like passion and love is also good to know because the regular attachment style doesn't break down for passion and love. So take these three quizzes to figure out how you are a leader and how you are leading your relationships, and then we could use that to identify some of the ways that you can connect intentionally with your people. So online, these are the cheat codes that I usually use. I connect with everybody that I reach out to, whether I talk to them online. Um, I also built in a connection on my onboarding and offboarding as a business. The person, so if I do business with company ABC, I'll say, "Hey ABC, make sure you get social with me." And I'll send them a link to all of the business stuff. It's a way for me to get followers, and it's also a way for them to stay updated on my newest things without getting tons of emails. I don't send tons of emails anyways, but still, it's just a way to keep people in your network. Um, I don't do business with people or talk about business with people unless I have a destination for them to go with me. And that should be a business practice for you. Don't bring people nowhere. That's a fast way to bring somebody that's a trusted advisor back down to a warm contact, excuse me. Um, Another way that I re-engage with people. So, like I said earlier, I had somebody that I met in 2016. Now, 2024, we're able to do business. I follow up with them and say, "Hey, remember in 2018 you said this? I actually did this yesterday." One of my directors that I worked with in 2016, we won a really big project. It was like 50 million. And we did a lot of hard work on that project. And he was celebrating his 25-year anniversary at the company. And I was like, "Hey, you are my like one of the best leaders that I've ever dealt with. I hope that the company knows that you are valuable." And that sparked our relationship over again. So do small touches like that. It wasn't, I don't have a destination for him at the moment. I just wanted to reconnect with him, and just show that he's human. And then another one of my favorite things that I do, sometimes people think this is awkward, but on Instagram and stuff, and Instagram and LinkedIn, is I will jump in somebody's comments and provide values or a funny comment. It gives me exposure, it gets me connections to people, and it has gotten me some followers. And then on my engagement list, it exposes me to like however many people like the item. So right now, I think I have like 1,900 followers on Instagram. I have a comment that has went viral, like, or not viral. It has like 3,000 imprints. Like 3,000 people have liked it on the thing. That adds to my engagement on Instagram, keeps me in the algorithm, keeps me building relationships online with people. So figure out what works for you. And then offline, after quarantine, getting people offline in relationships has been really hard. So what I do is if I am reaching out to somebody and they offer me their time, I invite them, I set the place and I set the time, and I am never late. Do not be late, because like they just people value their time, okay? And then take some time to set it up. If you need a relationship information, like if you need information with them in like 2 days, make that a phone call. Because sometimes if this person is not a trusted advisor, they're not going to meet you in 2 days. Just be real. If it's a fresh contact, I research them before I ask them to be meeting in person, um, because people want to know that you're not going to waste their time and ask them questions on something that they've done an interview about, especially high value contacts. And then I can do something else on that later. Some of the ideas that I do with some of my people to do thought partner and trusted advisors is I do walk and talks. A lot of people need to get out of their office and stop sitting down. So walk and talks are a huge thing. I noticed that a lot of events, people do those as events now, just to get investors and founders together. They walk and talk with each other. You can invite them to events you're having, invite events you're a part of. You could put them on a podcast um, that is formed in person. Award them. Be creative. Um, I usually think that if you ask them for coffee or for a walk and talk, Tuesdays through Thursdays are a good opportunity to do those, because most people are working during those days. They do client follow ups during those days. Mondays and Fridays are definitely admin days, or people are trying to wind down, or long weekends. So target Tuesday through Thursday if you're trying to meet people in person. So we are almost finished. Well, actually, we are finished. But I want you to relook at these questions and see what relationships, how you are acting in your relationships. Are you doing right? Are you doing wrong? Do you need some areas of growth? Um, Take the personality test and figure it out. Um, Evaluate if you're doing right in your relationship, or if you just want to be in a relationship, and how are you impacting that. So thank you for listening to me talking. I hope that this is the beginning to you building relationships like corporations. And please, please, please stay with me for more. You could like and subscribe. You could also follow me. I'll put my information in the comments. But thank you so much for being with me. I hope that you learned something on how to build collaborations in your life and build relationships like a corporation. I'll talk to you soon.